Warning: this video contains descriptions of disturbing and potentially triggering events. If you are not in a healthy place where you can handle this, please click off of this video and watch something nicer instead. Hey guys, welcome back to my Share My Life series, where I talk about what's gone on in my life and what I've learned from it and what you can learn from it too. In the first part of my series, I talked about roughly the first year and a half of my life and how it was a rough start, but it was only going to get worse as time goes by. And today I want to talk about a not so happy family. So my mom and my dad actually ended up marrying about a year and a half after I was born, because his family insisted that since they were together and had me, they needed to get married. But Mom was stubborn that unless she knew that Dad meant it when he said, "Marry me," she wasn't going to let him put a ring on her finger. Well, even when he did mean it, it kind of fell apart anyway eventually. But as I was growing up, from about the ages of 2 to 5-ish, Dad was really a constant source of aggravation and sadness and just overall negativity in our lives, because admittedly, Dad was a drunk. He was one of those people that did not like himself when he was sober, and so he drank in order to run away from who he was. The logic of which I cannot see, but I understand that addiction does weird things to you no matter who you are. I am myself addicted to certain things. I am a recovering addict from adult entertainment, and I'm also a recovering addict from social media overload, because years ago I would get way too into the social media stuff and let it rule my life. But having an alcoholic father was a very difficult and very unhappy thing, because Dad was there physically, but he was never available emotionally or psychologically. He'd be there, he'd be present, but if I tried to connect with him, he would either tell me to go away because I was being annoying, or he'd yell at me when I'd make a mistake, or say something that was incorrect in his eyes. Lots of times when I would try and do homework with him later on, he would say, "You can't do it, you don't know the way that it's supposed to be. I'm going to teach you my way." I wouldn't get his way, and then he'd get angry with me for not getting it his way. And Mom had to finally try and set him down and say, "Look, he's not like you. He's not like anybody. He's who he is. He doesn't learn like any of us did. He's going to learn his own way." Mom and my two sisters were really the bright points in my life, because as much as they annoyed me and I annoyed them, my two sisters, if I had trouble from anyone, they would defend me with their lives. And in fact, they did on several occasions over the years when I was younger and even when I've gotten older. And they loved me and I loved them. And Mom never stopped believing in me, never stopped loving me, even when I was a terror and a handful and a half. She never stopped loving me, and that was probably the only reason why only half of my childhood is traumatic and not the full thing, not the full package, because there were a lot of bad times, but there were also a lot of good times where I was able to forget about or just ignore the negative stuff in life. And that's the important thing for children growing up these days, is you have to give them positive memories to ground them in the midst of their negativity and their negative situations. But it wasn't a very happy start with the family as it was. Unfortunately, as I turned 6 years old and had started actually going to school, an incident occurred where my dad had been heavily drinking and had wanted to get the keys for the car to go and listen to the radio, because back then the only thing that you had to do back in the 90s was you listened to radio or you watched TV. You didn't have the internet. And Mom wouldn't let him because she knew that he'd probably drive off with the car, and being drunk is not a good idea if you want to drive. And she wasn't going to let him do it. Well, this got him angry enough that he pinned her against the coffee table and basically tried to strangle her. And this was probably one of the first major incidents of Dad's anger lashing out in a publicly, or at least an open setting where I could see, that I remember. And this was a traumatic enough memory that even now it's burned into my memory. It's burned into my mind where I can't really unsee it. And the police were called because my sister, younger sister, went and called the police, and they came and nothing was done. Oh, you're not married, or you are married, but whatever. It didn't matter either way, because they didn't care. The police really didn't care back then. Even nowadays, that you find situations where that happens. But that was really one of the first inklings I ever got that maybe my family wasn't the happy-go-lucky thing that I thought it was in my life, and really it just went downhill from there. So next time I'm going to be talking about my rough academic start to life. I did not like school, and school didn't exactly like me either, for various reasons. But I hope that you learned from this episode. Please remember that if you are a victim of domestic abuse or domestic violence, that you know you have help that you can get to. There are domestic violence helplines. There are plenty of different opportunities where you can talk to someone and let them know something's wrong. Don't stay silent out of fear, because staying silent won't make the situation any better than if you told someone. If you tell someone, though, things can change. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more stories for you, and you'll have things that you'll want to talk about. I will too, because it's you I like. Thanks for watching. Please have a good day, and please remember you're never alone in this.